Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. It is so good to be here with you today. I am Jack, and as always, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Emma. How are you feeling today, Emma?
Oh, hi, Jack. Hi, everyone. Honestly, I'm feeling a little bit like a slow turtle today. I woke up, looked at my alarm clock, and just said, no, not today. I stayed in bed for an extra 30 minutes just staring at the ceiling. Is it just me, or is waking up the hardest part of the day?
It is definitely not just me. I think we all have those turtle days where everything feels a bit slow. Did you at least get a good cup of coffee to wake yourself up?
I did, eventually, but even making coffee felt like a big project. I was standing there, waiting for the water to boil, and my brain was just empty. Do you ever have that, where you want to be productive, but your brain is still asleep in the bedroom?
Every single Monday morning, Emma. But you know, that feeling of a quiet brain is actually interesting. It's almost like your brain is a blank piece of paper before the day starts.
I wish my brain stayed a blank piece of paper. Usually by 10 a.m., it's a messy notebook full of stress. And lately, because I'm trying so hard to improve my English, it's even messier. I'm trying to translate everything in my head, and it's exhausting. It makes me want to go back to sleep.
That is actually perfect timing, because that is exactly what we are talking about today. We are diving into the big secret of language learning: how to think in English.
Oh, Jack, thank goodness. Please help me. I feel like my brain is a bilingual traffic jam. I hear a word in English, I send it to my translation office in my head, my brain looks for the word in my native language, then I think of a response, and then I try to translate it back. By the time I'm ready to speak, the person I'm talking to has already grown old and moved to a different city.
It's a very common struggle, Emma. We call that the translation trap. It's a habit that is very hard to break, especially for beginners and intermediate learners. It feels safe to translate, doesn't it? It feels like a safety net.
Exactly. It feels like if I don't translate, I'm just guessing. It's scary to let go of that safety net. I feel like a child trying to build a house with only 3 bricks. I just don't have enough English words in my brain cupboard yet.
I love that image, a brain cupboard. But here's the thing. You don't need a full cupboard to start thinking in English. You just need to change how you organize the cupboard. Most people think you need to be an expert to think in English, but you can actually start today, even if you only know 50 words.
Really? Even me? Even on a day when I can barely remember where I put my shoes?
Especially you. Thinking in English isn't about having a complex philosophical debate in your head. It's about small, tiny habits that stop the translation office from taking over your mind. It's about making English a natural part of your inner voice.
My inner voice is usually just telling me to buy more chocolate or reminding me that I forgot to water my plants. Can that voice really speak English?
It absolutely can. In fact, it's better if it starts with those simple things. If you can learn to think, I need water, instead of translating I need water from your own language, you've already won half the battle.
That sounds so much better than what I do now. Right now, I feel overwhelmed. Oh, wait, Jack, that's one of those big words, isn't it? Overwhelmed. What does that actually mean? I hear it all the time.
That is a great catch, Emma. Yes, overwhelmed is a very useful word. It means when you feel like something is too much for you to handle, like when you have too much work, or too many emotions, or too many English grammar rules in your head at once. It feels like a big wave of water is covering you and you can't breathe.
Yes, that is exactly it. I'm officially overwhelmed by the idea of thinking in English. It feels like a giant wave. I'm just a small Emma in a big English ocean.
Well, today we are going to learn how to swim in that ocean. We aren't going to jump into the deep end immediately. We're going to start in the shallow water where it's safe and warm. We've got some really practical tips that helped me when I was learning other languages, and I know they will help our listeners too.
I hope so. I really want to stop being a translator and start being a speaker. It's so tiring to do all that mental math every time I want to say hello.
We are going to break it down into easy steps. And for everyone listening, make sure you stay until the very end. We're going to have a special vocabulary breakdown where we look at some of the trickier words we use today, like overwhelmed, and explain them simply so you can add them to your own brain cupboard.
I love that. A little review at the end always helps me feel less, what was the word? Overwhelmed. See, I'm learning already.
You're a natural, Emma. All right, let's get into the heart of this. If we want to stop translating, we have to start small. We have to look at the world around us differently.
Exactly. The best way to start thinking in English is to look at your immediate environment. Think of your brain like a camera. Everywhere you point your eyes, try to label what you see with just one English word. You don't need a full sentence, you just need a label.
So if I am sitting in my kitchen, I just look at things and say, chair, table, coffee, unwashed dishes.
Precisely, especially the unwashed dishes. By doing that, you are connecting the physical object directly to the English word. You are bypassing your native language. Usually, you see a chair, your brain thinks of the word in your language, and then you translate it to chair. We want to cut out that middle step.
It's like a shortcut. Instead of taking the long road through my native language, I'm taking the high-speed bridge straight to English. I remember when I tried to do this last week. I was walking in the park and I kept saying, tree, dog, sun. People looked at me like I was a bit crazy, Jack.
Let them look. That crazy feeling is actually the sound of your brain rewiring itself. It's like watering a plant. You don't see the plant grow in 1 minute, but every time you label an object, you are giving that English connection a little bit of water. Eventually, that connection becomes a strong, healthy tree.
I like that metaphor, watering the brain plant. But what happens when I see something and I don't know the word? Like, if I see a thing that opens a bottle of wine. I don't know that word in English. Does the shortcut break?
Not at all. That's a great opportunity. If you don't know the word, don't rush to your dictionary immediately. Try to describe it in your head using simple English. You could think, the tool for wine. It keeps your brain in English mode. Later, you can look up the word corkscrew.
Corkscrew. That's a funny word. It sounds like a dance move. But okay, I see. So the goal is to keep the English engine running even if I'm just idling or moving slowly.
Right. And once you are comfortable with single words, you can move to self-talk. This is something I did constantly when I was living abroad. I became my own narrator. I would tell myself what I was doing as I was doing it. I am putting on my shoes. I am opening the door. I am walking to the bus.
I do that anyway, but usually it's me complaining. I am late again, I'm losing my keys, why am I always like this? Can I do that in English?
Absolutely. In fact, that is better because it's authentic to your life. The key is to use the present continuous tense, the ing words. It describes your life as a movie. It makes the language feel alive, not like something from a dusty textbook.
It feels a bit like being the main character in a movie. Emma is making tea. Emma is looking for her phone under the sofa. It's actually kind of fun. It makes my boring morning feel like an adventure. But Jack, what about when I want to think about the future? Like, tomorrow I will go to the gym. Well, let's be honest, I probably won't, but I might think about it.
Even better. Transitioning from I am doing to I will do or I want to do is the next step. But there is a danger here. Learners often try to think of very complicated thoughts too early. They try to explain their deep feelings about the universe in English, and then they get stuck.
That's me. I try to think, I feel a profound sense of existential dread because I haven't finished my work, and then I realize I don't know what existential means, so I just give up and go back to my native language.
Exactly. You're trying to run a marathon before you can walk. When you start thinking in English, keep your thoughts primary school simple. Instead of existential dread, just think, I am worried about work. Work is hard. I need a break.
Work is hard, I need a break. Okay, I can do that. That feels safe. It's like building a house with those big plastic blocks for kids instead of real bricks. It's harder to make a mistake.
Precisely. And the more you build with those big blocks, the more confident you get. Eventually, you will inevitably start adding more complex pieces.
Wait, Jack, there is another one of those words, inevitably. You said you will inevitably start adding more complex pieces. What does that mean? It sounds very serious.
Good catch. Inevitably just means that something is certain to happen. It cannot be avoided. Like if you walk in the rain without an umbrella, you will inevitably get wet. It is 100% going to happen.
Oh, I like that. So if I practice these small steps, I will inevitably become a better speaker?
Exactly. It's a natural result of the work you put in. It's not magic, it's just how the brain works. But you have to be patient with yourself. You can't force the brain to switch languages overnight. It's a gradual shift.
I struggle with patience. I want to be fluent yesterday. Sometimes I get so frustrated when I forget a word that I already learned 5 times. I feel like my brain is a bucket with a hole in the bottom. I pour the English in and it just leaks out onto the floor.
We all feel that way, Emma. Every single language learner feels like a leaky bucket sometimes. But the more you think in English, even just simple words, the more you are plugging those holes. You are making the language sticky.
Sticky English. I like that. I want the words to stick to my brain like honey. So, labeling objects, narrating my day in simple sentences, and not being too hard on myself when I don't know a word. Is there anything else I can do in my daily routine?
One of my favorite tips is the guessing game. When you're people watching, maybe at a cafe or on the train, look at someone and try to guess their life in English. He has a blue bag. He is a doctor. He is tired. It's a great way to practice because there's no pressure. The person can't hear you, so you can't make an embarrassing mistake.
Oh, I love people watching. I do that all the time. Usually I'm thinking, where did she get those shoes? They are amazing. Now I can think, she has nice shoes. I want those shoes. They are red.
Exactly. You're using English to process your real-world interests. That is the secret. When English becomes a tool for your real thoughts rather than something you study in a book, that is when you truly start thinking in the language. It's so true. When the language becomes a tool for your real life, everything changes. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room, Emma. We have to talk about the fear.
Oh, the fear is always there, Jack. It's like a little monster sitting on my shoulder whispering, "You're doing it wrong. Your grammar is terrible. Everyone is laughing at you." Even when I'm just thinking to myself, I feel judged. Isn't that crazy? I'm judging my own thoughts.
It's not crazy at all. It's actually very common. We have this internal critic that wants everything to be perfect. When we try to think in English, that critic gets very loud because we feel less smart in our second language. We feel like we are losing our personality because we can't express deep things yet.
Yes, that's exactly it. In my native language, I'm funny, I'm sarcastic, I'm smart. In English, I feel like a 5-year-old asking for a cookie. I feel vulnerable. I'm scared that if I think in English, I will become a simpler, more boring version of myself.
I've been there, Emma. Trust me. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I felt so frustrated because I couldn't tell jokes. I felt like I was wearing a suit that was 3 sizes too small. It was tight and uncomfortable. But here's the secret, Emma. Vulnerability is where the growth happens. You have to be okay with being simple Emma for a little while so you can eventually become fluent Emma.
Simple Emma is a bit annoying, though. She forgets the word for ceiling and calls it the top wall. But I guess you're right. I need to give myself permission to be imperfect. I'm so afraid of making a mistake in my head that I just stop thinking in English altogether.
That fear of mistakes is the biggest wall. But remember, your thoughts are a private playground. No one is listening. If you say the top wall in your head, the English police are not going to your house and arrest you. In fact, calling a ceiling a top wall is actually a sign of a great learner. It's called circumlocution.
What? Jack, you're doing it again. That sounds like a magic spell from a movie.
Haha, sorry. Circumlocution. It just means talking around a word you don't know. If you don't know the word grandfather, you say, my father's father. It's a survival skill, and it's a huge part of thinking in English. It means your brain is staying in English to solve a problem, instead of running back to your native language for help.
Okay, so top wall is actually a win? That makes me feel so much better. I think I need to change my mindset. I usually see my mistakes as evidence that I'm failing, but maybe they are just evidence that I'm trying.
They are 100% evidence of progress. Think of it like this. Every time you struggle to find a word in English, your brain is doing a push-up. It's getting stronger. If you always use a translator, your brain stays weak. It's like using an elevator instead of taking the stairs. The elevator is easier, but the stairs make you fit.
I hate the stairs, Jack. You know I'm lazy. But I want a fit English brain. I want to be able to go to a cafe, order a latte, and not have a heart attack because I'm worried about my pronunciation or my thoughts.
And you will get there. But we have to be kind to ourselves. I have a question for you, Emma. When you have a bad day and you're tired, do you find it harder to think in English?
Oh, absolutely. If I'm tired or hungry, my English just disappears. It's like my brain says, sorry, the English department is closed for repairs. Please come back after a sandwich and a nap.
That is totally normal. Even for me, if I'm exhausted, I start making basic mistakes. The psychology of language is tied to our energy. So, for our listeners, don't force yourself to think in English when you're feeling depleted.
Depleted? Is that like when my phone battery is at 1% and the screen goes dark?
Exactly. Depleted means completely used up, empty. If your mental energy is depleted, be kind to yourself. Switch back to your native language, listen to some music. The English gym will be open tomorrow.
That is such a relief to hear. I used to feel so guilty when I couldn't force myself to think in English. Now I know it's just my battery being low. I think I need to focus more on the feeling of the language rather than the rules.
That is the best mindset you can have. Focus on the flow. Don't worry about being perfect. Worry about being present. When you're washing the dishes, just be present with the words water, soap, warm. That's it. That's the whole secret to thinking in English. It's a collection of small, quiet moments.
It sounds so much more peaceful when you say it that way. Not a battle, but a collection of moments. I think I can handle that. Even a turtle like me can take a few small steps every day.
I am so glad to hear that, Emma. It really is about those quiet moments. And speaking of moments, I want to take a second to talk to everyone listening right now. We always love hearing about your journey because, let's be honest, Emma and I are just two people sitting here, but there are thousands of you out there going through the same thing.
Yes, please talk to us. It makes me feel so much better to know I'm not the only one struggling with the translation office in my head. In fact, we have a little question for all of you. We want to know what kind of English thinker you are right now.
This is a great one. We have 3 options, so listen carefully and tell us in the comments or just think about it in your head. In English, of course. Are you A, the labeler? You look at things and say apple, tree, car, and that's it. B, the narrator? You try to describe your day like a movie, saying things like, I am making tea. Or C, the translator? You are still stuck in that traffic jam where you translate every single word from your native language.
I am definitely a mix of B and C. Sometimes I'm a narrator, but then I get a flat tire and go straight back to C. What about you, Jack? When you were learning, which one were you?
Oh, I was a C for a long time. I was so afraid of being wrong that I checked every word in my mental dictionary. It took me a long time to realize that it's okay to be an A. Starting with labels is the foundation. So whether you are an A, B, or C, just know that you are exactly where you need to be.
That's so encouraging. Let's quickly recap what we talked about today so our friends can remember the main points. First, we talked about labeling our world, simple one-word names for things around us to build a direct bridge to English.
Then we moved on to self-talk, narrating your life using the present continuous. I am walking, I am eating. It makes the language active and real.
And we also talked about the guessing game, being a little bit of a spy at the park or the mall and guessing people's lives in simple English sentences. That one is my favorite because it's fun and there's no pressure.
Exactly. And most importantly, we talked about the psychology of it all. Being kind to yourself, accepting simple Emma or simple Jack, and knowing that when you feel depleted, completely empty of energy, it is okay to rest.
I feel much more motivated now. I think I'm going to go home and label everything in my bathroom. My toothbrush is going to have so much personality in English.
That's the spirit. And to everyone listening, I want to say this. Progress is not a straight line. Some days you will feel like you are thinking in English fluently, and other days you will feel like you've forgotten a word for water. That is not failure. That is just the process of your brain growing.
You're right. Even if I only think 3 words in English today, that is 3 words more than yesterday. It's the small wins that count.
Beautifully said, Emma. Every small word is a victory. Now, don't go anywhere yet. We are moving into our final segment where we take those big, tricky words we use today and break them down so you can use them too.
Yes, it's time for my favorite part, where I finally understand what Jack was saying for the last 20 minutes. Let's get to the vocabulary breakdown.
Welcome to the Vocabulary Breakdown. This is the part of the show where we take those slightly heavy words we used and make them light and easy to carry. Are you ready, Emma?
I am ready. I have my notebook out, and I'm ready to fill my brain covered with some fancy new English labels.
Great. Let's start with a word we used at the very beginning, overwhelmed.
Oh, I know this one now. It's that feeling when the wave is too big, like when I see a page of English grammar and my brain just wants to cry.
Perfect definition. Overwhelmed is when you feel like you have too much of something to handle. You can be overwhelmed by work or even overwhelmed by joy. For example, I felt overwhelmed by all the new vocabulary, so I took a break.
I use that one every day. What was the second one? Inevitably? That one sounded very fancy.
Yes, inevitably. It sounds a bit formal, but it's very common. It means that something is 100% going to happen. You can't stop it. For example, if you practice every day, you will inevitably get better. It's a very positive word when you think about your progress.
I love that. It makes me feel like success is a ghost that is going to catch me eventually. What about depleted? You mentioned that when we were talking about my battery.
Exactly. Depleted means used up or empty. We usually use it for resources like energy, money, or supplies. For example, after the long hike, my energy was completely depleted. Or for our listeners, if your brain feels depleted, stop studying and go to sleep.
That is my favorite piece of advice ever. Okay, what's next? You said a very long word. Circumlocution? I can barely say it.
It is a mouthful. Circumlocution. Let's break it down. Circum means around, and locution is about speaking, so it's speaking around a word. It's a strategy. If you forget the word key and you say the metal thing for the door, you are using circumlocution. It's a superpower for language learners.
I'm going to tell everyone I'm not forgetting words. I'm just using my circumlocution superpower. I feel much smarter now. Do we have one more?
Let's do vulnerable. You use this to describe how you feel when you speak English. Vulnerable means feeling like you can be hurt or criticized, often because you are showing your true self or your weaknesses. For example, it's hard to speak a new language because you feel vulnerable when you make mistakes.
That is so true. It's a heavy word, but it's a beautiful one because being vulnerable is how we connect with people.
Exactly. And speaking of connecting, it is time for us to sign off. Thank you all for spending this time with us in our cozy podcast corner. Remember, thinking in English starts with one single word. Just one.
And if that one word is coffee or nap, that is totally okay with me. Thank you for listening, everyone. You are doing amazing work, and I'm so proud of us for even trying.
Your progress doesn't end here. It continues with the next thing you look at. What is it? A phone? A window? Say it in English and keep going. We will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye, everyone. Happy thinking.